And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Wednesday, March 27th. I'm Josh Engleman, here to break down a 10-game NBA slate on the final day before baseball kicks off tomorrow. Going out with a bang for this one. Big slate, and all of the games are locked by 8 o'clock tonight. We should have some fun. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. And the best thing you could do is follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Picked up a dub on Prize Picks again last night. Did not pick up a dub on the DFS side. Oh boy, we get paddled. Double OT certainly did not help. That is going to be a problem. Miami, dreadful. Didn't help. Not really a good situation at all. Just making sure. Okay, cool. Wanted to check that. Yeah, Fox, bad. I mean, Sacramento, bad just in general. That was incredibly not helpful. It was a tricky one, man. It was a tricky one. I think if I looked correctly, 150 maxers yesterday, only one person was profitable. Everybody else just took an absolute beating, myself included. It was just bad. It was bad across the board. And here we are again today, though, breaking down a very different slate and probably a more interesting slate. It's tough right now. We don't have a ton of value. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Just waiting for ownership to clear in the Sims tool. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started running my Sims and breaking this bad boy down, which should be pretty fun. Anybody in chat pick up a dub? Anybody win anything yesterday? Always curious to see if we got any love from anybody in chat. I'm going to try generating those lineups. Mike, Prize Picks. Hey, wins are wins. We'll take it however we can get it, I guess. Break even. Hey, that's a win yesterday as far as I'm concerned. All right, let's see if we can generate this player pool and see what it looks like. Hey, a couple bucks is a couple bucks. Yeah, this is a tough slate. There's not a lot of value out there right now. It's kind of bleak. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I guess. Am I okay with this? I'm trying to figure out why this isn't working the way that I want it to work. But I guess we're just going to go with it for right now. So let me get my projections loaded up in the sim tool. Ooh, wrong button. That's the one we're looking for. We got a lot to talk about. It's fun, though, because it's when you have a slate this size, when you can get to like 10 gamers, then we could really just focus on the most important stuff for each slate. We don't have to dig as deep into every individual team. It just becomes a little bit easier to actually have a conversation about the slate. Yeah, we'll get some turmoil somewhere, Steven. I couldn't agree there more. We'll get a bunch of wild stuff. When we have a couple teams on back-to-backs and stuff that are going to really change the tenor of this slate. Oh, I was wondering why everything was running not great for me. Probably would help if I close all of my video editing stuff instead of leaving this shit open and letting all of my stuff just run slow. Yeah, Patty Mills was bad. I mean, everything was bad. Everything was bad. Shout out to Mike Lawrence. At least pulled down something decent in Showdown. Take whatever we can get whenever we can get it. All right. I'm running my first sim. This is with my projections. Yeah, Travis, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some weird Lakers stuff based on that double OT game last night. That feels wildly incorrect. Oh, okay. Ownership is now officially pulled into the sim tool. So I'm going to go ahead and rerun everything that I have on the screen right now, just so we can have all of the updated information. This is a big final slate for us before baseball is on our corner a little bit. So it's always going to be better off getting the freshest of fresh information. And that's what we're going to do right now. So I already ran it once, but we're going to run it again, generate our first 5,000 lineup pool, and then we can get an idea where I stand and where the stochastic sims are. It's going to be glorious when the Lakers beat OKC in the first round. Are the Lakers going to make the first round? I think they should probably just focus on like being in the playoffs. There's a 58% chance that they're in the first play-in game. That's not fun for anybody. That'll be a struggle. But also, OKC, massive favorites in that series. Massive favorites. Steven, no, it'll just be NBA tomorrow for my prize pick stuff. All right, there we go. Now we got our player pool generated. So now we can get everything we want running here. Yeah, Joe Blow, I'm the one that's lost. That makes sense. You're touting a huge potential first round underdog, and you're the one that has the logical opinion? Come on, man. You can just tell me you like the Lakers in that spot, but to act like that's a good idea, to act like OKC isn't an overwhelming favorite in that series, it's just silly. You can tell me you like the Lakers. I don't like, that's fine. But OKC is incredible. Yeah, I'm completely clueless. You know, there's a betting market out there. People are allowed to put their money on these things. You can speak with your money if you'd like. There's going to be a lot of money coming in on those things. And you know who's going to be the overwhelming favorite when all is said and done? The Oklahoma City Thunder. Massive favorites. What, like, extra massive. What's the gap in their net rating at this point? OKC on the year plus 6.5. Lakers are neutral. Yeah, massive line. Whew. All right, my first sim is done. So let's drop that in. Let's clean my lineups. Like, I have no problem thinking if you're like, oh, I'm going to bet the Lakers if they play OKC. I like that matchup. Totally reasonable opinion to have. To be so incredulous about it, it's so silly. It's so silly. All right. Very curious to see what my exposures are going to be here on this disgusting slate. Now, Echo. I don't think they're dangerous at all. I think their offense is legitimately bad, and they don't really have an out. But that's a conversation for another day. What we should do, honestly, I haven't looked at it in a while. What does the Lakers 5-man lineup look like? How have the Lakers been when the real dudes are on the floor. So look, we're going to say Russell, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, AD. What does that starting five look like? By the way, plus 8.5 for the OKC lineup. And they've got solid depth. What do we get for the Lakers? And I don't say that with any sort of like negative connotation. Yeah. Russell, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, AD plus 7.1. So very comparable net rating across both of the main starting fives. Which I'm not surprised by. But the depth for the Thunder in a playoff series looks a lot better. And the increase in minutes for OKC's starters, I think, is a bigger benefit than it is for the Lakers. Lakers, do the Lakers have skills at every position? Is that true? Because I don't know how true that is. They don't have a very good offense. Just me? I don't know. Like, they're just dead neutral on the year. Offense has been better as of late, but we got to remember what's going to happen to D'Angelo Russell once he sneaks his ass into the playoffs. He's going to get beat like a drum. We already know this. What's their plan when D'Angelo Russell is in 40 pick and rolls every day? It's not going to be fun. All right, stochastic sims are running. Let's get into this one now. Yeah, Echo, I think you can. And I say that as a guy that thinks LeBron is the best player in the history of the world. But they don't have enough, and it's not close. Let's get this started. Here we go. Cleveland Cavaliers, 10.5 point favorites in Charlotte. 206 total. Brandon, why do you got to say it like Chet can't handle AD as if Chet would guard AD? Like, that's not the matchup. So it's pretty irrelevant. I wouldn't care about that one at all. All right, so Cleveland. I didn't get a single share of the Cavs here. 206 total, lowest total on today's slate. That's not all that appealing. I don't have a single share. 9% ownership to Darius Garland. We might be getting Max Strus back. That'll be a Q tag. Who's guarding him, Ron? I would guess they would start with Jalen Williams, probably, maybe Dort. And then you're just sending doubles for any low post touches. You want to be able to have Chet ready for recovery. So I'm guessing Chet would be on like Rui in that scenario. Yeah, there's no incentive to put Chet on AD. Like, the strength difference isn't going to help. You'd rather have Chet being able to help second. So yeah, 9% ownership. We're gonna end this conversation. We're gonna get back to Cleveland. 9% ownership to Garland is the highest mark of anybody here. 7% optimal to Garland. It's a terrible spot. If we get Strus back, like, that's limiting value. These guys have been increased in salary because of every absence. So I don't have anything here. I added a little column for the DraftKings peeps, by the way. Hope you guys like this. This is my rank. Now, this has nothing to do with my exposure, my ownership. This is just grading people out relative to salary, position. Brandon, they won't in the playoffs. They won't have to. I'm not saying that like he'll never be on him, but that's not the ideal way to deploy Chet Holmgren. What's the gain there? To take him out of position? I mean, these guys will be everywhere. They'll be rotating everywhere. But AD will get post position on him every single time down the floor. Best play that I see on Cleveland is Isaac Okoro. I have him ranked 42nd. 3% exposure to Darius Garland, 3% exposure to Jared Allen in the stochastic sims. They have no answer for AD. What's the question? Why are we treating Anthony Davis like he's good offensively? Like, guy can't make a mid-range shot to save his life. Guy can't make a three anymore to save his life. AD would be the least of my worries. Yeah, I mean, Shooter Jenkins. Yeah, I would imagine Chet would see D'Lo quite a bit. The last thing they care about is like post D. But D'Angelo Russell is going to get beat worse than anybody else on OKC. Anyway, we're done. End this, or I'll be here all day. And I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. Made 2 threes last night. 29% on the season. Just stroking from outside. We're not getting to Cleveland. The moral of the story is that. But yeah, 42nd for Okoro. Charlotte. Same team we normally see. Now, I am getting a little bit of sneak love on their value. Poku, 3,700, playing about 20 minutes a night. Power forward, center eligible. Somewhere in that 0.9, 0.95 range. I'm getting him. It'll all go away once we start getting real value. We just don't happen to have it. I also have him ranked as the 24th best play on the slate. I have Miles Bridges at 25th. I got 12%. 7,900 for Bridges. He's playing 39 minutes a night. Small forward, power forward eligible. I don't mind getting to Bridges, but this is not a very good game. Highest owned guy for Charlotte is 6% to Poku, 6% to Bridges. That's just not a great spot. It's the worst game on the slate in terms of total. Charlotte's 24th in pace. Cleveland's 25th in pace. The value on Poku will go away. Bridges will look like an okay tournament option. Highest optimal rate is Poku at 9%. That's what we have here. Just a disgusting day. And if we hop back over to Charlotte in the Sims, 4% to Brandon Miller is the most we're getting here. We're just not really paying attention to Cleveland and Charlotte. Anthony Bryant. What are you looking for in terms of restaurants? Like quick eats, like quality sit-down meal, any type of cuisine? I can point you in a couple different directions, but I kind of want to know what you're looking for first. Like upscale bar food. I can go a couple different ways. Let's go to Golden State. Warriors are 5-point dogs in Orlando, 217 total. We got Klay Thompson back in the starting lineup yesterday. We also have a real rough spot for the Warriors. They're on a back-to-back. They're heading to Orlando. Magic are third in defensive rating. They don't exactly play fast. 5% ownership to Draymond, 5% ownership to Klay. Highest rank I have of anybody on Golden State. Put this into perspective. 97th. 97th. That's pretty bad. I got the 2 shares. I got a share of Draymond. That's it. Sky Smith Owens. Absolutely not Port City cheesesteaks. I hope you don't own it. If you do, I apologize in advance. At which point, yeah, go there. If you don't have anything to do with that place, then I'll be honest. If you do, then it's the best spot that exists. Look, single digit optimal to everybody. Positive leverage on Steph. But you can tell just from the ranking here, this is not a spot we want to be. So pay close attention. I'm going to highlight this. I can't highlight that right now. But we don't have anything here for Golden State. And it's a horrific matchup. We shouldn't want to get to Golden State here. Stochastic Sims got to 7% Curry, 4% Draymond. I think that's about what you're looking for. But we're not looking for volume from the Warriors. Now, Orlando gets a much better spot here. Neutral defense, a little bit of a pace-up spot. Apparently, I'm getting to quite a bit of Franz Wagner. 6,400, small forward only. Hasn't been playing well. 0.95 fantasy points per minute over the past month, but that doesn't really match his rates. And that's why he looks as good as he does. Because this price is down. And you're filling a tough spot. So Franz Wagner, I have number 3 on the slate right now. One of my favorite plays today. One of my favorite stands to make. I'm also happy to get to Cole Anthony. He continues to be this interesting value piece on days where we don't really have it. 4,400, point guard, shooting guard eligible. I got to 34%. He's 19% owned. I have him ranked 17th. They're really the only 2 guys that I'm getting to. It's single-digit light ownership for everybody else. We do see Cole Anthony and Franz Wagner get to double digits in optimal in the boom bust as well. Let's see where Stochastic lands on Franz and on Cole Anthony. I want to see if we're on the same page. 29% exposure to Cole Anthony, 17 to Franz. So they are the 2 guys that you can get to from Orlando for sure. Okay, so now it seems like I could actually say this. Yes, Port City cheesesteaks are terrible. Just a real terrible cheesesteak. That would not be my recommendation in any way. If you're going to get a cheesesteak, your best bet is likely to go to Copper Penny. The bread is going to be better. And the guy that runs it, 1, plays DFS. So if you're watching today, what's up, man? I'll be down soon enough. But 2, the Philly guy. So he's actually making a good product as well. Not much else here for Orlando. 5% to Banchero, a couple shares of Suggs and Mo Wagner in the Stochastic Sims, but it's Franz Wagner and Cole Anthony. Write those names down. Those are your priorities coming from the Orlando Magic. Now we're about to see some ownership. Brooklyn Nets, 3.5-point favorites in Washington, 223 total. Now, the Nets are still without Cam Johnson. They're still without DSJ. Q tag on Cam Thomas. Buckle up for the Lonnie Walker show. That'll be good. Lots of ownership coming into Brooklyn. And it could change a lot based on Cam Thomas's status. But you can see, I have Nick Claxton 4th overall. He's projected for 35% ownership. I got 40. Now, I also have Cam Thomas 5th overall. He's only 15% owned. I have 38. That's a big stand for me. But I also think Dennis Schroeder looks exceptional. He's 30% owned. Trendon Watford's pulling 26% ownership. We could have a conversation there. Mikal Bridges is 16% owned. Dorian Finney-Smith is getting some love. Lots of exposure coming into these guys. We have Claxton, Schroeder, and Bridges, all 20% optimal. We have 16% optimal coming to Cam Thomas. We have 17% optimal coming into Trendon Watford. Very much a function of today's slate. He's 3,200. That price is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. But I'm getting to everything. Big stand on Cam Thomas, one of my preferred GPP options. I don't have as much as the field of Dennis Schroeder, but he clearly looks like one of the better plays. I don't mind going 2x the field on someone like Dorian Finney-Smith as a GPP option. Bridges is a guy that I normally get to more, and I have him projected for a fantasy point per minute. However, I am coming in a little bit under that ownership mark, which surprises me. I did get to the massive amount of Claxton, and I am under a bit on Watford, who is over-owned at 26%. So I don't regret that. The priorities here are definitely, to me, Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, and Nick Claxton, with Claxton looking like one of the best options you can get to. 6,400, center only, 31 minutes, 1.15 fantasy points per minute. And this could change if Cam Thomas is out. Stochastic Sims are going to be in agreement with me, so you're going to be adding a couple more plays to your short list. And that is going to be 57% exposure to Nick Claxton. Write that one down, guys. Nick Claxton, part of the core today. 40% exposure to Trendon Watford. I expect that to come down as the day moves on. 35 to Bridges. I don't disagree with it. I would actually like to have more. I'm surprised that I don't. Franz Wagner is probably pulling a little bit from him, but I do like the Bridges play. I would rather have a bunch of him than have what I have right now. Cam Thomas, 31%. As far as I'm concerned, write that name down on the short list. Dennis Schroeder, as far as I'm concerned, write that name down on the short list. Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, Nick Claxton. High-level priorities on the slate, at least as of right now. And it should be. Washington's 29th in defensive rating, 4th in pace. They're missing a bunch of guys, although Kuzma is in. Trong, set the line. You set the line. I'll bet it at whatever you want. But what do you think it's going to be? Let's go to Washington. Now, the Wizards are getting Kyle Kuzma back for this one. Still, they're going to be without Jules Bernard, Justin Champagnie, Koulibaly, Tyus Jones, Omer Yuri, Landry Shamet, Isaiah Livers. 10% ownership to Denny Avdia, around 10 to Jared Butler, single digits to the rest of these guys. Only Jared Butler got to double digits optimal. I like getting to Washington here, especially if I'm getting to Brooklyn. But I have Denny Avdia 7th overall. 1.1 fantasy points per minute, a $7,200 small forward. I'm 2xing the field. I'm more than 2xing Jordan Poole. 6,900, point guard, shooting guard eligible. 1.15 fantasy points per minute over the past month. 30% usage, a near 30% assist rate. Why not get to a 7% owned Jordan Poole? Also, $4,700 Rashawn Holmes is playing like 28 minutes a night. He's going to be around 0.95 fantasy points per minute. It's not the worst matchup in the world against Brooklyn. He's 6% owned. Love the idea of getting to him in a larger field contest. He's in 28% of my lineups. So I'm getting to Poole, Avdia, and Rashawn Holmes, all in that 20 to 30% range, well north of where the field is coming in on Washington. And I have Denny, Poole, and Holmes in my top 11 right now. So get to Washington. Now, for Washington, we only got to 20% exposure in the stochastic sims for Jared Butler, who I did not get to at 4,300. And then it's single digits everywhere else. So I am a much bigger believer in the Washington Wizards right now than where we're at on the site. So these are going to be GPP pivots for Avdia, for Poole, for Holmes, guys that you can get to make your lineup a little less chalky. Shooter Jenkins. Yeah, I gave Bagley 18. They'll be pretty close to splitting them all. All right, Anthony Bryant, favorite quick eatery. So Copper Penny is going to be my recommendation always for higher end bar food. I'm a big fan of Mess Hall. Good burgers, good. I get loaded tots with fried chicken and like Chipotle cream sauce and cheese and stuff, bacon. That's going to be great for like quick eats. If we're talking upper class eatery, I was just there recently. I had a really good meal. Caprice. It's going to be a French bistro downtown. Let's see. Where else would I want to go if I was trying to like step it up a little bit? True Blue, if you're looking for like a steakhouse or something like that. I love every single meal that I've ever had there. That should cover you for right now. If you need more tips, let me know. I'm always here. Yeah, Brent's Bistro. Very good. For sure, very good. Next game up, Portland Trailblazers. 11-point underdogs in Atlanta. 214 total. We've got 17% ownership coming into Scoot. 15 to Chris Murray. I took his under, by the way. And then single digits to everybody else. We have Chris Murray actually 19% optimal. I have him way worse projected, so we're not going to see him. Scoot's at 12. Tamani Kamara's at 12. I got to 40% Scoot. I have him 8th overall. I got to 20% Kamara, who looks like a decent enough value at 4,500. We still have a Q tag on DeAndre Ayton. We have a Q tag on Matisse Thybulle. Jeremy Grant continues to be doubtful. But I like getting to pieces of Portland here because Atlanta's defense is so bad. So I'm happy to take a stand on Scoot. If we get those Q tags out, like Kamara will look like a decent value. I still don't mind going to Ayton, even at that price tag. But Scoot's the priority here. Top 10 play for me as presently constituted. And if we look at Portland, 45% exposure to Chris Murray. Now, I am aggressively cheering against that. 18% to Scoot. Big fan. 12% to Kamara. Big fan. Single digits to everybody else. Scoot and Kamara are the priorities. I'm on team fade Chris Murray. That's where I'm looking at it right now. The Atlanta side. 20 to 25% ownership to Bogdanovich, Bruno Fernando, Clint Capella, DeJounte Murray, around 10 to DeAndre Hunter. We have Murray, Bogdanovich, and Capella, all 13% optimal. But look at the negative leverage on Bruno. I like Bruno a little bit more. I actually got to the field. I have him ranked 10th right now. Probably technically a little bit worse because he's center only. But I'm getting to Bogdanovich as well. 6,500, shooting guard, small forward eligible. Great matchup against Portland. But I have very little Capella, very little Hunter, and only 2% of DeJounte Murray, who's actually questionable for today. He is questionable with lower back soreness. At 20% owned, he's over-owned. I have him ranked 37th. That's too much coming into Murray. We have him with some negative leverage. I think we're going to be disliking Atlanta in the stochastic sims, but keep your eye on Bogdanovich. I think the position really helps. And I actually like the price tag for Bruno Fernando. These guys are going to split 48 minutes. And these guys are way more owned on FanDuel. Bruno Fernando has 56% ownership on FanDuel because he has power forward eligibility there. Now, for Atlanta, for Atlanta in the stochastic sims, 23% to Capella, but very little to Bruno Fernando. I'm flip-flopping that. But you're really... Ultimately, I think the look is try to get to an Atlanta center. 17% to Murray, 15% to Bogdanovich. I'm a much bigger believer in Bogdanovich. I don't really like that $9,800 price tag for DeJounte Murray right now. We're talking about him needing 60 tonight. That's a tough sell. Peter, bite your tongue. Bite your tongue. Bite it hard. Yeah, get Bruno Fernando and Bogdanovich. They're my priorities here coming out of Atlanta. So that's 4 games. We've got 6 more to go. I got to talk about one thing quickly. I hope you guys are ready for it. I think you are. So on the off chance that you missed the deal that we ran for March Madness, boy, are you in luck. Bang. Now, this is not active yet, but will be active in like 2 hours or so, probably. Maybe 3 hours. Something like that. Early afternoon. 50% off your first week or month of OddsShopper Premium using the promo code PLAYBALL. This is only going to exist for about a day. It's going to end at 4 p.m. tomorrow. So you're going to have about a full 24 hours to take advantage of this. I hope there's a link in the description, but if there's not, head to oddshopper.com and sign up using the code PLAYBALL. You get it for half off. That's $7.50 for a week. You want to check this out. I'm using OddsShopper every single day now that sports betting is legal in North Carolina. And if you're not in a legal sports betting state, you could use it for the pick'em sites as well. It's only going to last until 4 p.m. tomorrow. You got to get in there if you want. If you're the person that said yesterday that you had just signed up for OddsShopper, send us an email. Like we want you to get the right side of this one. But 50% off, you can't beat that deal. I've got OddsShopper pulled up on the screen every day, constantly. It's up there right now. We've got Darian Trammell with a 28 OddsShopper rating on Bet365. Is it still there? It is. Bunch of plays on Bet365 that are north of a 5% expected value. Maybe you're at Caesars. You want to get to Miles McBride, under 22.5 PRA, 6% expected value. You can click to this stuff immediately. We have optimizers for all of the pick'em sites. We have parlay builders. Imagine if you want to build out a parlay on Bet365 right now with all the good plays that are there. Grab Darian Trammell, grab Dennis Schroeder. Maybe I grab Miles McBride, and right away I have a 3-leg parlay plus 877, and we think it has a 28% expected value and a 13% win rate. It's all right here in front of you. You could also build that out as a single game parlay if you want. You can use our odds boost evaluator. If you get any odds boosts from a site, you could add the legs to your parlay, check the boosted odds to see if there's value in that boost. And we have so much more. Live odds table with brand new advanced data and trend data. I know people like to look at it. I could just quickly click here on Cleveland and Charlotte. There's the trend data for the point spread. Maybe you want to look at it differently. Maybe you want to look at something like points, player props for points. And you want a little bit of some trend data there. There's Steph Curry. There's some more data. There's this trend line of points over the last 20, over the last 10, over the last 5. You could track the lines for each one of the books as well. We got a lot going on at OddsShopper, but the moral of the story is this. 50% off a week or a month. Promo code is PLAYBALL. This will activate sometime in the early afternoon. Don't sleep on it. I know you guys want to sign up. LA Clippers, 6-point favorites in Philadelphia. 218 total. Clippers appear to be at full strength. They got Russell Westbrook back last time out. Sixers have a Q tag on Kelly Oubre, still missing everybody else that's normally out. Really hard to get to the Clippers. 3% ownership is currently projected to Kawhi. Single digits on FanDuel. Highest optimal is 5% to Harden. I didn't get a single share of the Clippers, and I have Kawhi Leonard ranked 98th on today's slate. I will never have a Clipper today, other than pure randomness. Philly, same story. No one is more than 2% owned. Now, I think Tyrese Maxey is getting slept on a little bit, even in this spot. I haven't projected very well, but I only got to 4% of him. But the Philly side looks equally as awful. 3% optimal to Paul Reed. 1% ownership as a max. This is the worst game on today's slate. It's not close. It's not even remotely close. Look how bad this looks. Clippers in stochastic sims. 2 shares of Harden, 1 share of Ivica Zubac. Philly in the stochastic sims, not a single share of anybody. We're not going anywhere for this game. Not a single play recommended. The less we talk about it, the better. New York Knicks, 13-point favorites in Toronto, 210 total. Same team that we're used to for the Knicks. Q tag on Alec Burks probably doesn't matter. 30% ownership coming into Dante DiVincenzo. I personally think he's the number 1 play on the slate at this moment. 20% ownership coming into Isaiah Hartenstein at 5,700. 20 more to Josh Hart. 10 more to Miles McBride. 10 more to Alec Burks, oddly enough, at 3,100. Now we have 24% optimal to DiVincenzo. Close to 20 on Hartenstein. Around 17 for Josh Hart and around 10 for Miles McBride. I didn't get to any Josh Hart, even in 40 minutes. I got to McBride, I got to Hartenstein, and I have a huge stand on Dante DiVincenzo. But you got to get to pieces of New York. Toronto, 24th in defensive rating on the year, and they're missing a lot more of their defensive talent. And they're a middle-of-the-pack pace team. The New York Knicks are actual priorities for today, which I don't love, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. Now, the Knicks, 48% exposure to Isaiah Hartenstein. A little healthy for me, but certainly a part of my short list. I'm over the field. 47% of Josh Hart. This is where I have the big disagreement. I am nowhere near the same projection as for Josh Hart. We have him in for 41.5. I only have 37.5. So there's a chasm between it. I'm going to avoid him. I think the truth will lie somewhere in the middle, probably pretty properly owned in that 20% range. DiVincenzo in 40%. Write it down. One of the best plays you're going to find today. Add him to the list. You got to get to DiVincenzo. And then Miles McBride is going to play north of 40 minutes today. He's 5,600. He's point guard, shooting guard eligible. Only a 0.7 fantasy point per minute guy. Still looks like a solid play given the position, given the price, given the role on the team. But you got to get to the Knicks. One of the better options you're going to find today. There it is for stochastic in case you don't believe me. It's right here. Lots and lots of exposure. But Dante DiVincenzo is my number 1. Don't want to miss it. Got to get him. And then we go to Toronto. They didn't start Bruce Brown last time out. We have 24% ownership coming into Javon Freeman Liberty. I'm not a huge believer in that. I only got to 8%. I don't think he projects all that well. We have him 17% optimal, 24% owned. He's like a 0.75 guy at best, especially in this spot. Good defense for the Knicks. Even without OG Anunoby, they're going to be like average. Slow pace for sure. I have Freeman Liberty ranked 39th. I think his ownership will go away as we get more value. But I will likely not be getting to much from Toronto. I think this is a pretty bad spot for them. If we look at Toronto via the stochastic sims, 47% exposure to Javon Freeman Liberty. I don't think that holds. I think the projection on the site comes down. Because this is not a very good spot. We have him at 0.86. I think that's too high for him. And when that settles out by the end of today, I think we'll all be on the same page. There's not anything you want to get to from Toronto. Indiana Pacers, 3-point favorites in Chicago, 234 total. This is a biggie. Chicago's tough. They play really slow, really softens the matchup for the Pacers. 14% ownership coming into Pascal Siakam. It's single digits everywhere else. We did get Siakam to 11% optimal. No one else is higher than 6%. I'm guessing stochastic sims have Siakam, but I don't share the same outlook. 11% to Siakam in the stochastic sims. So, a properly owned guy. If I'm looking at anybody, it's always going to be a $6,600 Miles Turner, but the minutes are just really scary. It's the price that really helps you out. And then I don't mind going to a 5K Nesmith, shooting guard, small forward. It's a GPP play only. There's just not a lot to like for the Indiana Pacers today. The Bulls have 12% ownership coming into Alex Caruso, who's questionable. Single digits to everybody else. I'm going to get myself some Kobe White as a GPP pivot off of some chalkier options. We have Kobe White 5% optimal, so not all that interesting. 10% optimal to Caruso, 12% owned. There's not a lot of love coming into Chicago. Now, I wish there was. 25th ranked defense for the Pacers, 5th in pace. But everybody for Chicago is in. These prices are incredibly stable. Gary Harris out for Orlando today. I don't see a lot that you want to prioritize from this game, which is a shame because it's got the highest total on today's slate. You can see in the stochastic stims for the Bulls, 8% of Caruso, 1 share of Drummond. Just doesn't look very good. It just doesn't look very good. All right. 7 games down. We got 3 to go. I got to talk to you guys about Sleeper. You see the banner at the top of the screen. I like to talk about them a lot because they have the best deposit match bonus on the Pick'em sites, up to $500 as long as you click the link in chat or the one. Well, there isn't going to be one in chat. Click the one in the description for sure because you get up to $500. You want to try to acquire as much free money as you can, and playing your way through a Sleeper bonus is going to help you out. It will also help you out to do that if you sign up for that Odds Shopper package, because we have Odds Shopper for the Pick'em sites as well. I have it pulled up here, and here's the fun part. Sleeper has free squares. Kevin Durant points over 0.5. That is a free square for today. Get it. Tyler Glasnow strikeouts. Another free square on Sleeper. Get it. They will help you keep your costs down. You can find other plays at Sleeper as well. Or if you're playing on other Pick'em sites, whether it's Prize Picks, Better, Underdog, whatever you see, we're beating those sites as well. You can use Odds Shopper. You could use the Play Ball promo code to help you play through all of your Sleeper bonus. Use these tools in synergy. You're going to have more money when you're done doing it. I'm quite confident in it. I can't guarantee it, but I love Odds Shopper and I use it every day. Playing through a $500 bonus at Sleeper, no brainer if you have access to Odds Shopper. Los Angeles Lakers, 3.5-point favorites in Memphis, 221 total. I think it's basically impossible to talk about this game. LeBron missed yesterday. The Lakers went to double OT, and now they're on a back-to-back. I have no idea who's going to play. We need their injury report. We need their news. I'm not even going to bother digging into it. If everybody's in, AD looks okay at 10-4. I don't really want anything here. But we need to have this conversation when we actually have news. It's not worth discussing the Lakers right now. It's all a hypothetical. Memphis is going to have Desmond Bane. They're going to have Triple J. That changes the outlook of everybody for this team. 8% ownership coming into Scottie Pippen at 5,200. Single digits to everybody else. The most is 3% to G.G. Jackson. Highest optimal guy for Memphis is 7%. There's not a lot to like here for Memphis one way or the other. Although the Lakers are playing at a breakneck pace right now. So if you're going to get anything, you probably like the Memphis side more. But we only got to 7% of Scottie Pippen, and that's it. It's a pretty gross game for both sides. But the Lakers could look interesting, depending on how that game shakes out. But we can't talk about it right now. We have no idea who's playing for the Lakers. None at all. Now we go to the Pistons. 14.5-point dogs in Minnesota. That's a 215 total. Now, in this spot, there is no ownership coming into Detroit. They're facing the number 1 defense. They're facing the number 22 team in pace. 1% is the most of anybody for Detroit. I got 1 share of Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham ranks 90th for me. Highest optimal is 2.7% to Cade Cunningham. Now, we at least have to give the note. Cade is questionable tonight, but we're still without Duran's probable. We're still without Fontecchio, Grimes, Stewart, Asar Thompson, Stanley Amudi. We're not getting to Detroit, guys. I would not be surprised at all to see no shares of Detroit on the stochastic side. And that would be correct. Not a single lineup. Not a single lineup. Now, Minnesota gets the benefit of facing Detroit. Bad defense, fast pace. But these guys have had their prices come up a little bit. But I am getting to a heavy amount of Anthony Edwards. My number 2 play. He's in 32% of my lineups. He's only 14% owned. The other guy getting love for Minnesota is Rudy Gobert at 15%. Both of the guys that I just mentioned are questionable for today. Edwards got to 10% optimal. Gobert got to 12. They're really the only two guys you're looking at. Now, I didn't get much Gobert, but I 100% am getting to Anthony Edwards. Want him to be in. He should crush this Pistons team. And if we look at Minnesota in the stochastic sims, we're flip-flopping it. 24% to Gobert, just 9% to Edwards. The moral of the story for Minnesota is you're only playing two guys, Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. That's it. And then we finally close out this slate. Houston Rockets, 6-point underdogs in OKC, 230 total. Shooter Jenkins, it's Rudy Gobert and it's not close. Not even a discussion point. Rudy, runaway winner. No ownership coming into Houston. They also get Jabari Smith back from his suspension. 4% ownership to Brooks. 4% ownership to Van Vliet. I took Amin Thompson's under today. I bet it. It's on Prize Picks. And Laffy took it on Underdog, independent of me. This is a horrific matchup for Amin Thompson. Takes 66% of his shots at the rim. No team defends the rim better in this league than Chet Holmgren and the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are erasing everybody at the rim. Amin Thompson's in for a long day. Bet his unders if you can. I barely got to Houston. There's not a lot of value here now that everybody's prices come up. Jalen Green's up to 8,900. 6% optimal to Fred Van Vliet's the best you can get to. Oh, by the way, this is a top 10 defense that they have to face. This is a rough spot for Houston, even with Oklahoma City on the back-to-back. 2% to Dylan Brooks is the most we got of anything. Yeah, Shooter Jenkins, it's that big. One, the defense simply has just been better for Rudy Gobert, and better talent around him, sure, but better for Rudy Gobert than it is for Wemby. And two, you have to reward the fact that Minnesota is really good and San Antonio stinks. Like, even if you want to say they're equal, to me, the tiebreaker is Rudy Gobert has to play in high leverage games. Victor Wembanyama doesn't. He can just explore the studio space however he wants. Do I think that Wemby is going to win this award in the future as early as next year? Certainly do. There's no reasonable way to give it to him this year over Rudy Gobert. Final team, OKC on the back-to-back. 10% ownership to Jalen Williams, 10% ownership to Chet, 6 to Shea. Now I'm over on Shea, more than 2x. More than 2x on Jalen Williams. More than 2x on Chet Holmgren. I like this spot. Houston's defense is decent, but there's no Şengün. Very different spot. I like it for Chet. Jalen Williams should thrive in this spot. We have all three of those guys in and around that 10% optimal rate. But I think Oklahoma looks sneaky. 230 total. This is the second highest total on today's slate. So I want to get to some of the stars here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I want to get to their three best players. So do the stochastic sims. 11 to Shea, 11 to Chet, 10 to Jalen Williams. Those are the guys we want for today from Oklahoma City. I've got Jalen Williams ranked 13th. I've got Chet Holmgren ranked 19th. And I've got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander ranked 21st. That's three guys in the top 20, basically. So we're loving the Thunder. But we're also done this slate. We have broke down every single game. That's 10 of them up and 10 of them down. We're still done by 11 o'clock, even with 15 minutes of ranting about the Lakers to start it. So now let's look at the rest of our summary information and see where we stand. Top plays coming out of the stochastic sims. Nick Claxton. Then you get a couple guys in at the 40% exposure range. Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, Javon Freeman-Liberty, Chris Murray, Trendon Watford, and Dante DiVincenzo. And then we finish it off with three guys in the 30s. Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas, and Dennis Schroeder. The number one lineup in the stochastic sims to start the day. Miles McBride, Cam Thomas, Franz Wagner. God, my nose is so itchy. Oh, God. It's just so dry. Trendon Watford, Nick Claxton, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Clint Capella. That is our number one lineup to start the day. And for the FanDuel crazies, let's check you guys out. Let's run our pool. Let's generate our contest on FanDuel, and let's see where we stand. If you're here, for the 420 people that are here, if you haven't done it yet, hit the like button. It helps me out a ton. Don't forget to sign up for Odd Shopper using the promo code PLAYBALL. Don't forget to sign up for Sleeper as well. Oh, my back's sore. Contenders videos will be out in a bit. Prize Picks is already out. Follow me on Twitter. If you play on Prize Picks, but even if you don't, if you tail the card that I posted today, it doesn't have to be on Prize Picks. If you're not on Prize Picks, if you have a different pick'em site and you can get it, or if you're at a sports book and you can bet it, if you do that, post the screenshot that you tailed me and it wins, somebody is getting a free week of Odd Shopper that's in my Twitter mentions. All right. Pool is generated. Contest sim is coming. Having some fun. Back for the deeper dive later tonight at 5 p.m. It'll be myself and DK breaking this whole slate down. So you don't want to miss that. Then we get live before lock at 6. And obviously, we'll be on playback afterwards. Go to playback.tv/stochastic if you're interested. It's going to be a good time, folks. It always is. And there aren't any other shows today, so it's myself and DK at 5, Greg and Eric back at 6. Oh, man. I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Allergies, too, not helping. Everything's covered in pollen. My pool is just so yellow. Ugh, it's been such a pain in the ass. I need it to all cycle its way through. I need this pollen shit to stop. All right, FanDuel people. We're about at our results. Echo, what? How am I? What am I ducking you for? Did I miss something? Number 1 lineup on FanDuel. Dennis Schroeder, Javon Freeman, Liberty. Cam Thomas, Alex Caruso. LeBron James, Chris Murray, Josh Hart, DeAndre Hunter, and Nick Claxton. We have top plays. Javon Freeman, Liberty at the top of the list. Bruno Fernando, second. Josh Hart, Cam Thomas, Alex Caruso, and Bogdan Bogdanovic in the next tier. Schroeder, Chris Murray, Rudy Gobert. Final guys. What are we betting? What are the terms? I assume I'll take it. But I missed it, so let me know. Before I get out of here. Friendly bet on Thunder Lakers series. I don't have Cash App. But yeah, I'm in. I'll even give you the odds. One caveat for this one, Echo, assuming the teams are the healthy version of what we want. Like, if the series happens, but SGA gets hurt next week or LeBron's out, I don't want to hold you to anything either. Like, I don't want to be on that either side if it's not full strength. I think you would probably agree to that. But yeah, I'm in 100%. But yeah, I don't have Cash App. So I'm in. Count it. And I'll give you the odds of whatever plus money you're getting on the Lakers at that point. I'll give you that on the bet too. So if you're plus 150, then I'll pay you 75. Remind me, because I'll forget about this shit. And I'll never get paid when the Thunder win, but this one's fine. What's a Zelle? No, I'm a normal person. I have Venmo. Look, Echo, I'll get you the money. If I lose, I'll get you the money on whatever app you need. How's that? I'm going to get out of here, folks. It's been swell. Don't forget, Odd Shopper. Playball is the promo code. I'm going to get out of here. NBA strategy show in the books. 2 more to go this week. Let's have some fun. I'll talk to you guys later.